In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the exact business model that has helped me make millions of dollars this year alone. And it's not like e-com or dropshipping where you have to find a new product or ultimately risk a bunch of capital. All I do is help small online businesses scale. And since I have equity splits in a bunch of these small companies, I basically integrate the system that helps them make more money. And as they make more money, I basically get a cut of that. And I've had singular clients pay me over $100,000 for just 1 month's worth of work. And it's something that's super replicatable because I already have the system that helps the businesses grow. All you need to do is basically replicate it, integrate into these businesses, and then you start signing equity deals as well. And so something that's super, super simple. It makes a bunch of logical sense. And it's the only business model that I've done after trying e-com, trying trading, working the 9 to 5s that allows me to not trade my time for money and ultimately make income that is viable for the amount of work that I'm putting in. Okay, now jumping in here, I want you to understand exactly what you're gonna learn in this video, which is why the RSP model exists, why this model works even if you're brand new to it, and the exact transformation you'll go through. And if you're wondering what an RSP is, it's a revenue systems partner. You basically help small online businesses grow, and you can earn anywhere from 10 to 30K a month from literally just one client in this business model, as long as you use my system, which helps these companies grow at an extraordinary rate. And since you're on equity split, you can make a lot more money. And so jumping into here, you're probably like, oh, this is just some rich kid who had rich parents who paid his way through everything. This was my life 2 years ago. I tried the trading. I tried all these different things. I was stuck paycheck to paycheck for the longest. And you can literally see this is me at Target trading my blood, sweat, and tears just to make $15 an hour. That is my actual O-type blood on the floor. And this was the case everywhere I went. You know, I worked construction. I was laying down sheet metal all summer long, and I still had a smile on my face because I climbed from $15 an hour to ultimately making 25 cash. And I thought that I was making advancements in my life, but regardless, I realized that I was still trading my time for money. Quickly, with no experience, I jumped into the online space. I found, high ticket sales. I messaged a creator. He basically said, hey, I can put you on my sales team. And I thought that I struck gold. Although I was making a lot more money than I was prior from the construction jobs and the 9 to 5s, this is what my calendar looked like. It was absolutely brutal. So, obviously the screenshot can only go this far, but I was working from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. That is 11 hours a day, stuck at my desk, taking Zoom calls all day long. And this was a regular occurrence almost every single day. And I did that for almost 6 months until I realized enough is enough. And that's when I started the RSP business model and realized that there's way more money in the space as a consultant. So today, this is what my life looks like. I'm merely 20 years old. If I looked at myself 2 years ago and you told me this would be my life this year alone, I would absolutely laugh at you and think you're a scammer, think you're a joke, whatever it may be. But it is reality. And, by God's willing, I'm going to be pushing and striving for a lot more. And so you're probably curious, like, why is this guy trying to show me this now? Why is this important today? And just for you to understand, this is probably you now. You're just work, doing way more work than I'm currently doing to make way less money. And all it takes is you basically just putting on, your super suit, learning some of these simple systems that I utilize, going to businesses, signing equity deals, and you can completely transform your life within the span of a couple minutes. And then this could be you. I'm pretty sure that's Dave Chappelle with a crown on his head hugging some money. And so obviously, money isn't necessarily always the goal, but the freedom that this business model allows you to have is something that you'd be lying to yourself if you said it's not something that you wanted. And so why is this important now? Going back to the same point is ultimately Goldman Sachs, right? The financial institution investment research team predicts that the creator economy will continue to expand, possibly growing to $480 billion by 2027. Today, it is at a whopping $300 billion. So that is almost a 60 to 80% growth within the next 2 years. What that means is as this industry is growing, my job and my demand will only increase. So starting today will put you at the forefront of it. It's almost like e-commerce in 2016. The people who started e-commerce or dropshipping in 2016 have built multi-million dollar fortresses in this industry and have locked down their name in the space. So if you jump into something like this today, you can build your career for long term and ultimately have this freedom and have this crazy income for a long time. And so I've been in this space for over a year now. I have a lot of friends in this industry, and they're telling me every single day that they're having their friends hit 10 to 20K per month in this model. And I've even helped a handful of people do the same thing. And so the reason why it's so easy for you to come into this space with no experience and hit these simple income goals is because it's a super high demand thing. There's not a lot of experts that understand these online tech systems. There's not a lot of people that have been in the online space for a long time. And so you automatically learning these systems puts you at a point of authority where people see you with respect and they understand that you know more than them. And so it's the same industry as like medical, where you look at a surgeon, right? A lot of people break their arm, but not a lot of people know how to fix a broken arm. And so they get paid a significant amount of money for that. And the reality of this is anyone who's selling something, whether it's a medical company, whether it's a coaching company, whether it's an e-com, team, whether it's a SaaS product, can be a client. So anyone who's selling something can be a client receiving your help, especially with the systems that we run. And so it's something that's very, very easy for you to come in, find one or two clients that need that help, because there's a shit ton of people as the economy is growing that need to make more. And so they see you as a point of authority, you sign that contract, and you start making bread ASAP. Jumping into here, I want you to understand how these businesses actually make money, and then we'll tie that down to how you make money from that. So you can think of it as three things, right? You got traffic, which is basically eyeballs. So people seeing this product, people seeing this influencer, it's basically just attention as a forefront, right? From there, it's a system on the back end. Where does that attention go? And then how does that lead to someone buying the product, which is conversion, right? So it could be closing calls. It could literally just be a payment link on a website, whatever it may be, right? And so jumping from there, I want you to understand how you'll make money working with these businesses. If you can fix one of these three things, whether it's traffic by running ads, whether it's system by optimizing it, or maybe setting up automations, or whether it's conversion by integrating a killer sales team or a killer sales training program, whatever it may be, then they make more money. And in congruency, they'll pay you 15 to 20% of the money that they make. So it's a win-win scenario. You're working with business owners and founders that understand you, they see your value, and as they make more money, which makes them happy, you make more money as well, which makes you happy. So it's a very fulfilling business model beyond just the cash. Now, going back to what we talked about with any business, what matters is eyeballs. And so this is where the money comes from. It's these little two googly eyes, right? So the three traffic sources can be paid ads, organic content, or affiliates, but they come into a funnel. Now, what my team specializes in is basically organizing that traffic through a funnel that ensures that they make the most cash possible. And we've been able to dumb it down across multi-million-dollar businesses and basically figure out exactly what works. And since all businesses work under the same hood, the system that we created, making sure that that funnel converts the most cash as possible, allows us to literally plug and play the same system to this business and this business and this business. And since we're taking big equity splits between 15 to 20%, we build a big portfolio and a big book of business really quickly, and we're able to make a shit ton of money. So how do funnels work within these businesses? You basically want to understand that every business uses funnels, right? Whether it's Coca-Cola, which we'll dive into here in a sec, but funnels are basically a water funnel, right? So you have the bottle top where you're pouring water in, you got rocks, sand, fine sand, cloth at the bottom, and that clears out all the water. So the water that's clear at the bottom is the money. And typically certain funnels will have a 50% leakage, 10% leakage, whatever it may be, where they're not making as much money as possible. So what you're trying to do is ensure that you're getting the most amount of clean water through that funnel, which basically means the most amount of money. And the better you can get at doing so, the more money that you're going to make and the more value that you'll have to these creators, businesses, whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and the more money you'll be able to generate. And so you are basically building these systems. We have developed one that's super, super good. And I want you to realize like this is something that every business does. So you look at Diet Coke and Taylor Swift. These are two completely diverse worlds. Diet Coke has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has completely nothing to do with Diet Coke. Why does Diet Coke choose to work with her? Because she is bringing eyeballs. From those eyeballs that listen to her music, that like her maybe because she's pretty, whatever it may be, Diet Coke then uses their funnels, uses their websites to funnel down their eyeballs into consumers of Diet Coke. So not every single viewer of Taylor Swift buys Diet Coke, but since she's bringing a ton of eyeballs and Diet Coke has a crazy sales structure, they know that they'll be able to make sure they're getting the most amount of clean water by leveraging Taylor Swift. Isn't that crazy to think about? Now, jumping into here, here's an example of me doing the exact same thing as Diet Coke. So there's this influencer, Kayla. She is a big brand. She has a lot of followers, a lot of attention, because she's been a super successful Black businesswoman who's done crazy, crazy good for other people and has helped tremendous people, basically become successful. So with that, we realized that we can sell a product under her attention and create a funnel where we can bring out as much clean water from that, make a ton of money for her, and from there take our percentage. So we took her audience and her viewership, built a website around it, then developed a sales team and a CRM, which you may not know what a CRM is, but it's basically a client management tool where we can manage people who are eyeballs that come to her website. From there, we set up a sales team structure, which was 3 closers, which are basically people who get the deal done, and then 5 setters, which are people who call the eyeballs and basically make sure that they're ready for their call. From there, you can see that we've done $900,000 in that CRM in cash collected. What that means for my agency is at 20%, she paid me over $180,000 between August till today, which is absolutely insane. And so off of initially setting up this funnel, I can show you what the first 5 days look like. Day 1, we did $10,000 with Kayla on a brand new product. Day 2, we did $24,000 with a brand new product. Day 3, we did $24,000. Day 4, we did $18,000. And day 5, we did another $8,000. At 20%, she paid my agency almost $20,000 in literally 5 days. And you can see she's like, how are you guys so good at this? LOL, right? What type of sorcery do you guys use? And so I'm showing you this not to flex, but to show you that literally just taking eyeballs, creating the system that me and my team have developed, and then basically pushing sales through that will make you a ton of money. And it's the exact same thing I've been able to do countless times before. So you can look at another CRM from 2025, $1.5 million in cash right there. It's not letting me zoom in too crazy for some reason. But then here's another one with $4 million this year alone. And then you can look at the swap dashboard from September 1st to November 23rd, another company that we worked with that we did $2.1 million in cash with. At an average of 20%, this is almost $8 million in cash collected, which is almost $1.6 million for my company alone this year in profit off of our percentage from the total. And so it's something that you can obviously make a ton of money doing. All it takes is basically jumping in, learning the system, ultimately finding the businesses that need help, signing those deals, and then ultimately running the system to convert eyeballs into cash. It's super, super simple, right? And so you might be curious, like, can't you do this to like in-person service-based businesses, whatever it may be? The truth is online business is the way to go because they have 80 to 95% profit margins. Their delivery is completely scalable. People buy multiple products. And so if you have one eyeball, it can turn into 3 sales, 5 sales, 10 sales in the LTV. And the audience is usually already there. So a lot of these influencers carry a bunch of eyeballs that want a product. All you have to do is basically create the product and then set the funnel and then start collecting cash. And then the education niche is obviously ever so growing as Goldman Sachs kind of predicted. And so what this means for you is that you can look like this guy, have a bunch of cash in your ear, and ultimately live a life of freedom the same way that I've been able to, right? And the reason why you can do this with literally no experience is because we're not selling you. So my name is Bilal, right? I literally have an Indian first name. It's not something where I DM people and they're excited or ecstatic to see my name pop up in their DMs or their emails, right? But what I do carry with Bilal is funnels, systems, CRM, sales teams, all the things that actually collect cash. And so they don't look at me as Bilal, they look at me as an expert who knows what he's talking about. What that means is my experience means absolutely nothing to them. And jumping into here, they're here to listen to what I can show them and how I can help them rather than who I am and what I've done. So that reflects on you as well. You can do the exact same thing. And beyond that, I want you to realize every single entrepreneur in this world wants to make more money. It's not just you. It's not just these founders. Every single business, whether they're doing $1 million in a month or whether they're doing 200,000, wants to make more money. And what that means is that you as an RSP, you are not optional. You are literally vital. If you have the engine that you can lead a brand with, you no longer have to sell why, right? You're selling how. How do we get this done? How do we make this happen? If you have the how, you're good to roll, right? And so you're probably curious, what about me? I don't know what I'm talking about. All these excuses that you're going to come up with. The truth is, you don't need experience. I never had it. I literally came from a roofing job. You don't need skills. You don't need followers. I don't have followers. I literally have like 1,800 followers on Instagram. You just need to understand the engine, understand the game. And if you follow everything, you can literally dominate in this business model just by learning the back end. And the founders will pay you thousands of dollars for what you learn and what you know. And that's my story. This is the business model that I run. I'm a growth consultant. I help online businesses scale, and they pay me a ton of money for it. If this is something that intrigues you, leave a comment down below, and I'll post more videos showing exactly how I was able to get to this point, how you can find your first client, how you can seal that deal, and then ultimately the system that we use to allow these businesses to grow, collecting you a massive paycheck by the end of the month. And so I'll be looking forward to posting those videos for you soon. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.